just now rolling? Really?
What is that?
Yeah,
That
we're
was
just now
prime
rolling.
good. That was good stuff. I
I
can't
know.
believe it.
I finally started hitting record 20 minutes after
That's
you start
crazy.
talking.
Man.
That way we don't lose all of our viewership.
It's over now.
Before we ever say anything important.
Well,
David Filter.
yeah. No. If y'all wanted to learn anything about Guardians of the Galaxy or bacon explosions, y'all just missed it. Totally.
Yeah, I know. We'll get it on the next one, though.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
Welcome to the Fireside.
Welcome to the Fireside.
We haven't played our song in a long
Nah,
time.
not a long time, man. You haven't called me
No.
Launch, and I haven't called you Cisco in a while.
Yeah,
I don't know
I was gonna do Baby and Johnny, but I couldn't think of Johnny's last name.
Patrick Swayze, Johnny?
Yeah, what was his last name?
Ugh. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, yeah,
Did they
Baby
even
and Johnny.
have one in the movie?
Yeah, he definitely
I
has a last
must
name. I'm
have.
sure
I'm
he did.
sure he had a last name. Yeah.
I can't think of what it is though.
Baby and Johnny.
It wasn't Swayze.
Yeah, the crew here can Google it while we're moving on.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 37 of Fireside Tats, the premier tattoo education podcast for tattoo artists and collectors.
I love that premiere.
Yeah, no, I made that up. Well,
You didn't make it up. It's true.
It's true. I've started toying around with the idea of calling it like the number one rated or whatever, because who rates
good.
podcasts on, especially tattoo podcasts? First off, I think we're the only one.
I think you're right.
So that helps.
But I think we're being rated. I think
Yeah.
right now somebody's probably.
Johnny Castle.
That's even
Wow.
better, man. It's a
Yeah.
great name. Yeah.
Damn it. Well, we can't use that one now, but
That is a solid name, though.
yeah.
Johnny
For a while, we were
Castle.
introducing. I would introduce some. We were gonna play a game where like we would
Yeah.
use more obscure people, and the
You
first
could- yeah.
people that would respond
I
with the
thought it was a
correct
good idea.
movie
Right.
would get mentioned on the next show or something like that. But we did like Chunk and Data or Data, and we'd done Turbo and Ozone, which was a
Beautiful.
solid one. Yeah,
Solid.
yeah. I don't know. It's hot in here tonight, huh?
Well, it's hot in Memphis.
It's 100
man.
degrees out.
Yeah. Last week it's been literally over 90 something degrees. 97 is about average, I think.
Yeah, my little window unit can't cut it. So this is episode 37, and let's start like we always do. So go to YouTube and like our videos, Fireside Tats channel. Subscribe to the channel while you're there, and YouTube does all the work for us. They'll send you an email and tell you, hey, Fireside Tats put out a new video. Go watch it. That's nice.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs us up.
Likes us.
Like us on, follow us on the Facebook
Tweets
and
us.
on the Twitter. Go to iTunes and rate us 5 stars and leave us a review. And and subscribe to our newsletter, firesidetats.com, to stay up to date on, whatever.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
If you do all that,
Yeah, kudos to you.
kudos.
All right. You guys want to... so, like, ignoring the fact that we have a guest.
Oh, who?
Who are you?
We're just, like, talking past. Like, somebody's in my way. God.
See,
We have Josh Wexler here tonight, tattoo artist extraordinaire, man.
yeah.
If you don't know Josh,
Yeah.
That's
you
it.
don't know.
he is
probably haven't heard.
Jack
but
shit.
You may not have heard, because he's not. He's kind of under the radar.
Very,
Oh,
very
can't
under the
believe
radar.
Yeah, he's not a tattoo artist,
At all.
but he's an artist though. He's
In his own
he's
way. Yeah.
good.
I
He
guess
plays the
everybody
drums.
is.
We used to rock out, and
We did.
you probably know Josh from the Rocket
Oh,
Scientists.
well, who wouldn't? I mean,
Yeah.
As we used to rock.
We were
Memphis
big.
favorites,
Yeah,
too,
we used to rock Memphis pretty
Absolutely.
hard back in the day with old Tom
With
Morris.
Tom Morris,
Tom
Yeah, Josh
Front
on
man.
drums.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Forgot about
Tom
that.
frontman. I was
Rocket science.
oh,
I was
man.
moving around Geddy Lee style on the bass.
Sweet.
It was awesome
was.
back then. That was you
Super
probably
high
can't find
bass.
any videos of it though.
I don't know. Yeah, that was pre
It was pre.
pre before anybody would,
Yeah,
would
no way.
film
Somebody's
anything.
got that.
Even
Yeah.
if
So Josh is gonna sit in. Josh has been getting tattooed for years, and he's
Pretty regularly, too.
yeah, he's a good friend of ours, an old friend. We've known him for years. He lives out of town. Well, he's in and out of town. He's out of town constantly for work, so we never get to see him. So we invited him onto the show because he's going to have some valuable insight on today's question. Today's question, we really needed someone.
Third party.
A third party. We needed a tattooee's standpoint
I
on
think so,
this.
too.
You know,
different
So, you want to jump into the question since we've been babbling for probably 10 minutes?
You should ask it first.
I'm gonna
jump
ask it.
into it, just go.
Let me find it.
Let's ask this.
All right, so here's what I got. It says, hey, Jake. Hey. I have a question. How does an artist go about telling a longtime client that they no longer do small pieces, yin-yang, script, whatever, without sounding like a complete douchebag? I've recently had an old client call to ask for some Old English lettering. She lives out of state and has for a while, and I have done all of her tattoos over the years. When I told her that I now focus on larger pieces and have increased my minimum charge, she acted like I'd slapped her. It was almost as if I was too good to work on her. Not sure how to handle this issue. Please help. So this was a good one because we've recently done something similar at the shop. I increased my minimum charge back in June of this year. Just not an hourly minimum. My hourly has changed. I just increased to a 2-hour minimum. A session minimum, just in an effort to focus on bigger pieces, which is obviously what this person is doing, and you have recently done the same. So that's a good question. I mean,
It is.
I'll start by saying that's going to happen. You're not going to please absolutely everyone, no matter what line of work that you're in. Someone's going to be pissed about some decision that you make. If you make any change in any part of your life, you're not going to please everyone.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Right.
You can't please everybody all the time, or all the people.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that it's a long-term client, and I would hate that. You hate to you think your longer-term clients, if you've done, I don't know how many tattoos this guy or this person has done on this other person, but you think that those are the people that would say like, awesome, and I'm glad you're focusing on bigger things. You're a great artist. I'm glad that you're able to move to that next level and not having to be hand to mouth in the tattoo world anymore, because there's because everyone pays their dues in it. Sorry, we got a visitor. Everyone pays their dues, and it's unfortunate that the person didn't see it that way.
Well, I mean, I think that at first you're going to have people like that. I guess probably part of it too is maybe try to talk them up to that minimum. Try to push whatever they want into a different frame so that maybe you can do a little more work where it kind of suits you and suits them. Now, some people, like you said, when they get to that point, at least at our shop, we have people that are there that I say can handle that and can get them in faster than I can do it. And usually they kind of understand. It's like, look, if you want somebody that does good letterings, our apprentices do great. That's what they kind of like said.
Cut their
teeth
on. Yeah.
And do their first tattoos. It helps them get sharper. It helps them get faster. And for them, it's better for a learning experience than something for me where I'd have to like squeeze you into usually an appointment where it's between two larger appointments anyway. So I'm kind of going like not out of my way, but at least having to alter quite a lot of my schedule to just fit a smaller piece in where it would be easier for someone else to do it. And if it's that small, like I said, usually at a 2-hour minimum, I mean, most of the pieces I do now are bigger than that. And you would hope that people would understand. It's like, if you put that as a minimum and they still can't kind of meet that minimum, well, then they probably shouldn't get a tattoo from you. I mean, I think you can only you can only placate people so much and fit them into your book. It's like, do you want to wait a month or month and a half or longer for me to do just a little bit of text when
that's
somebody
the way
here
I present
can do
it too.
And do a good job, do as good a job as I could do.
Yeah. That's exactly the way that I lay it out there. Because I've told people just in the months that I've been doing this, when I could, the idea was, let me back up. I didn't have to tell my regular clientele anything because I don't work on any people less than 2 hours. I mean, the only people that it affected were the friends of the friends that were like, "Hey, will you do this for
it's the family members?" And the friends
it's
of
those.
friends.
That's where I ran into it, and basically the way that I've laid it out is like, look, you can wait until December for me to do this text, or so-and-so can do it tomorrow or the next day, and I guarantee you will not know the difference. Like, you won't know if I did it or if she did it or he did it. It'll be clean regardless, and they can do it for $60. It's going to cost $250 for me to do it.
Exactly, and that's probably the easiest way to put it. It's
Yeah.
like, for that same amount of time, they will give you a much better, probably much better. They charge you much less, and they have
and they're building their portfolio a lot of times.
Probably a much less, charge per hour than I do.
Yeah.
And in the end, hopefully they'll understand, or they'll try to pump the design up a little bit more to make it kind of, not say worthwhile, but at least it'll be easier for me to do that for 2 hours than to do just lettering and a little bit of script or a
it's-
drop shadow.
Yeah.
And if you even then, like I said, some people, because we've been open for a really long time, they just don't realize that there's been like to 20 years, prices have changed. I can't give you that
a
same
little bit.
$50, $60
Everything
tattoo
goes up.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
less than it's like that doesn't pay for anything at the shop anymore. Not even really the time.
No, not at all.
Break down
Basic
equipment,
supplies, yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just
Ju-
doesn't anymore.
Jump in on this, Josh. What do you? I mean, from a client standpoint, do you have any?
I mean, it's hard for me just because, I never set out to get anything, where I came in and,
did
I just want a small piece here and a small piece there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I could see as far as like somebody, who has that, I guess, that attachment to a specific artist.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal to, a client, because they feel this trust and they feel this certain, this, end product is really what they're looking for. So I can kind of see the customer's view on it, but at the same time, again, I don't see how anybody could really look at it, and especially from somebody trying to progress their craft and their art, is why would I stay here and why would I continue? Just like David was saying, even logistic wise, I mean, if you have other artists in the shop that are there to handle smaller pieces, and you're gonna get a solid product at the end, I mean, it's a no-brainer, I guess. But,
yeah,
I mean,
I get your point, and that's true. That's something we kind of skimmed over. People develop a real
Right.
comfort with their artist, and if you've done a dozen tiny tattoos on this person and they look great years later, for one thing, it's justification for why you've moved on to larger pieces, because you can put in solid tattoos. But for on the other side of that, that person knows that your tattoos are solid years down the road, and they go, wait, I mean, don't you love me anymore? We're friends, right?
Yeah.
Don't you do my? I thought you did my tattoos. So I can see it from
yeah,
both
I mean, and I
sides.
guess there is that certain, I guess it's a certain, I guess you could call it like intimacy as far as with the person when you're working on them. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I could see how somebody could get feelings hurt, but at the same time, I mean, if you really
Hopefully,
if you really
will
consider
also
what's
take their
going on.
suggestions as a
Right.
valid point
Exactly.
too. If they suggest that you go to someone
Yeah.
else
Yeah.
or someone that they've trained, and that's what happens a lot at our shop. It's like, this is my apprentice. I would not tell you that my apprentice could do this
Right.
if they could not do it.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you give them a chance, just like you gave me a chance
Yeah.
too. It's like, I may have moved on, but I'm not gonna just like screw you. We're gonna give you good work. I mean,
Yeah.
but again, if people will wait and they'll, I have to admit, make the time and put, like I said, if I can make that tattoo just push it just a
Yeah.
little more.
Yeah, and that's always an option, I
people
think.
understand,
Now the one thing that I don't want to do, and I've even been approached about it since I've made the change in my minimum, is people saying, "That's cool. I want the tattoo to be perfect.
yeah.
I'll pay $250 for it." Like,
mean,
that's not
I'll
really
pay
the point.
$250 for
Right.
this
Yeah.
teardrop.
Yeah, it's like I don't want. It's not that I'm trying to.
Dude.
I don't want $250 for 10 minutes worth of
Yeah,
work. It's
that's
not
true.
fair to anybody, and I can't make it look like a $250 tattoo. It's just not a $250
Yeah.
tattoo. So it's not that. I think there's that probably a misconception that it's strictly a financial thing, and to me that's not what it was at all. I'm not trying to make more money tattooing. What I'm trying to do is focus on the things that I want, that I'm interested in.
And I don't know
And
if
that-
a lot of people could understand that on
Yeah.
an artistic level. Like, you want to progress, you want to push yourself out of certain boundaries, and often you don't have the time to do that. You're, especially in this medium, you're always kind of like forced to a certain person's will. And so anytime you can get just a little more of your work into it, I think that's what artists strive for.
Yeah.
They want to progress, they want to get better, and it's hard if that's all you do is lettering or tribal all day. And,
Yeah, it is.
You do flash all day or anything like that. You're hard pressed to get any better or learn from other artists if you are stuck in that kind of
Yeah,
kind of shackle.
Right. I think so. That's I think that's probably the hardest thing for. Well, that's exactly what this person missed whenever they took that information. When they took that information the wrong way and said, and treated the artist shitty over it. They obviously felt like, well, he's too good for me now.
Well, that's what I say. Again,
he learned to tattoo on me, and now he's too good to tattoo.
Make
on me.
suggestions first. If you can't get to that bend in the road, You know, if you can't quite get past that, let them go on their way.
Yeah, move on.
And they'll find somebody, and
they
hopefully
will, and
they'll
that is-
take your suggestions too. Hopefully, somewhere along the way, you suggest who maybe should be doing the work. You know?
Right.
What do you think? I mean,
Yeah.
if
I mean-
someone you're like, hey, I don't know if I would be really good at that. Maybe you should try Jake.
I mean, you know, just
Jake says,
yeah.
$50.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good deal. But yeah, I mean, I could, you know, it seems, I don't know, maybe, you know, and you know, everybody wants what they want. Some people want a bunch of small pieces, I guess.
It's true.
But at the same time, I don't know. I guess just seeing the trends develop over the years. I mean, it seems like a lot of artists, especially now, I mean, have really gotten away from that if they've progressed at all. You know what I mean? I mean, it's only, you know, strictly appointment only. You
It
know,
is. The whole
larger
world.
pieces. You know,
Yeah.
eventually, you know, because that's what better way to showcase your skill and your talent as far
And especially
as, you know,
because the clientele, the general public is more willing to get large tattoos now.
Right.
So in some way, I think what you're, that's an interesting point you're
Yeah,
bringing
it's
up.
a shift
In some way, like small tattoos are kind of going away,
Right.
to a certain extent.
Right.
At least small, simple tattoos. You know, I mean, people are still doing these like, you know, traditional kind of one-shot things, but everything's getting. I mean, the level of competition within tattooing is
Exactly, yeah.
skyrocketing.
I mean, and that's
so you can't.
That's what I mean. That boosts. I mean, the amount of artists and the
Yeah.
work that they're doing now. That influx. That, you know, has totally. You know, the bar is higher every. You know.
Yeah, constantly, and
Yeah.
especially, you know, we've talked about it a lot on this show with social media, and you see like, as a tattooer on Instagram, I follow like 90% tattooers.
And I mean, that's the thing. I follow,
That's
you know, a huge number as well. Just
Yeah.
because I mean, there's so much of it out
There's
there.
tons of
There's a
it.
lot of good work out there too. You know, I mean, but
And anytime you set out to start a new piece, what you're comparing yourself to now is so much different than what you were comparing yourself to when you got a tattoo magazine once a month and flipped through it kind of, you know, haphazardly, not really paying attention to it. Because now you flip through like you're sitting there at the shop before your appointment shows up, and you see half a dozen super clean, nice tattoos, and then you sit down to tattoo, and you know, you instantly are like, all right, I've got to bring it. I mean, I've got to focus
Every
on this.
day.
Every day, man. You have to, because
you really have
because
to.
if you
I
even
think
if
it
it's
makes
something
pay
you don't love,
attention. I mean, it makes you really get involved with your work and try to like you said. I mean, you really want to show off, and it's hard to do that when you get pulled back by pieces that just don't fit your portfolio or what you're doing anymore, and you know that there are other people who can do that for you. Just
plenty
as
of
clean, just
plenty
as
of
nice,
people
and-
that can do it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the bigger changes in tattooing in the time that I've been on it is artists' willingness to step back and say, that's not really what I do anymore. Whether it's small tattoos that just are that they're not trying to focus on, or whether it's a large tattoo that stylistically they know someone else in their town or in their shop or whatever does better. I think that's something that didn't happen in the 90s as much, where someone comes with an idea and you go like, man, yeah, that's really cool. I don't do that as well as so and so. You should send that. Yeah, you should go at least look at their book before you commit to me. So I think anyone getting tattooed should be open to an artist's suggestion to look at another artist, because they're only doing it for your benefit, really.
Right.
You hope.
You hope, yeah. I mean, and you know, if you tried to take on, everyone's selling themselves short if they try to take on every single thing that walks through the door.
Yeah,
Regardless.
there's no way you're good at everything.
No.
I mean, you can be. And you said, and usually, each piece you do is supposed to inform you for the next piece, and so, like you said, it's really hard to go backwards. It's hard to go back steps because you're not learning anything from it. You're not informed from it. You're not gaining a lot from it. Then it's rote. You should let somebody else that needs that as a chance to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think really the artist's opinion should almost be first and foremost in any decision. I mean,
You hope.
regarding,
I mean, if you
know,
trusted them before, trust
that's what
them
I
this
mean.
time.
But I mean, it's just like, well, there always needs to be, hey, well, let's talk about this, not, hey, I want this. Let's do this right. You know, I mean, there's got to be that, you know, that dialogue and that.
Because then I think artists feel like a copy machine to a certain extent too.
Yeah.
They don't want to be that thing, that person. You know.
I'm instantly turned off by someone that comes in with exactly what they want and they don't want my input. This is what I'm looking to get. I'm like,
Yeah,
nah.
I mean,
Even if I like it, I don't want to do it now.
Aw.
That's not really true, but it is to a certain
Well,
extent
I mean-
because I want to be involved. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm making a drawing here.
I mean,
don't-
I hope that helps. I mean, I think we've hit.
yeah, we're off the subject now, but still.
No, I mean,
That's
I
the way
think
it goes.
That's back into it. I think it. You want to be informed. You want to get a lot out of it as an artist, and I think often if the customer hasn't been around for a long time, knows that you've done a good job, but hasn't seen what you've been doing hasn't followed you in a while,
Yeah.
hasn't.
I'd have to think
understood
that's a rare
what
exception.
breaks you've made in your artwork.
Yeah.
You may not get the same person. You know, that's not the same person 5, 6, 7,
Yeah.
10 years later. You know, it's just
No,
not,
yeah, it's not. I think that's got to be a kind of a rare exception. I think most people you've
Yeah.
been tattooing for years and years will be happy that because if they've come back to you again and again for work, they like your work.
That,
they like you.
or
they
they'll
want
think
the
bigger.
best for
I
you.
want to do bigger
Yeah.
pieces.
Yeah.
I want to make
Well, that
more of an
seemed- yeah.
impact, and I want to have a little more skin. I've been actually, like I said, 20 years later, you've been forced to do a lot of pieces on small patches or fill other pieces. I do a lot of cover-up work, and I like to do it, but if every piece I do is a cover-up, you know, you're looking for that fresh piece of skin at that point. I do a lot of cover-ups. Half the pieces I do probably in one way or another cover-up.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that comes with doing larger tattoos.
I think that's probably
I mean,
part of
you're
it.
always going to run into some other tattoo that's in your way. So, yeah.
Then
So
I
I mean, then again, then again, there's that transition though. It's like, okay, I had this old, smaller piece.
Yeah.
This is where I'm at now,
I'm-
and I'm coming to you.
And I love
you know?
that.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right. Did we tackle that pretty thoroughly?
Any last minute little. I mean,
I just think
that kind of hits it from different angles. Hopefully, if you can't, like I said, if you can't talk to the person and they can't really get on your level and why you're telling them that you either have a new minimum, which is easy to rectify. I just have a different minimum. If you don't mind paying that, well, then you kind of have to stick to it at that point. If they want 5 letters from you, you make the fanciest $250
guess so.
freaking letters ever.
Yeah.
But if they don't and they can't take, but I would say offer up. It's always offer up choices, offer up something, offer up a person, offer up if it's not your shop, someone that would love to do that and would be into that, and hopefully they make a new friend.
Yeah, give
And-
options. I think that's probably the easiest way to sum it up. Give options. Don't say I don't do that anymore. My minimum's $250. I don't do letters. Take it easy. Instead, give options. Like, not really what I'm doing at this point. We have some great young artists that are going to do a solid job on that, and they
will
can do it
love
today.
to talk to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that helps. But you're just never going to please everyone. You're going to lose clientele. There's no way around it.
And in the end, this is for you. It's not for. I mean,
Yeah, it's your career.
it's your career,
Right.
your work. You're putting it on
Yeah.
people. They are, hopefully,
Yeah.
the word, and that one, hopefully that one word will be lost
Yeah.
in the praise that you get from your other clients.
And it will.
you
I mean,
know.
as long as you're putting out
Exactly.
solid work, it will. I mean, it's just business. Not everyone wears Nike shoes. Not everyone likes Ruffles potato chips. You know what I mean? But
True.
there are enough people to keep them in business that do.
I love Ruffles potatoes.
I love Ruffles too. That's why I brought it up.
Man.
All right, end of part 1.
This
We'll see
guy,
you guys.
right?
Yeah, Ruffles.
Is that it? Was that?
That's part 1.
Oh, part 1. Let's take
Yeah.
a break.
Let's take a quick break. I need a beer.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll see you guys later. We're talking about flip, flip, flip,
Flip, flip, flip.
flip, flip, flip,
Your
flip y'all biscuit.
Seriously, just try the flip biscuit recipe.
Flip, flip y'all
You're
biscuit.
at home right now. I know you don't know what we're talking about, but
Welcome back! Welcome back to part 2 of the Biscuit Show.
yeah, you need it. Seriously.
All biscuits all the time.
If you don't like biscuits, something is wrong.
Yeah, man, everybody loves biscuits.
Wrong.
All right, let's get to part 2 so we can eat these biscuits.
Probably Russians or something.
We have a question about artist sketches.
Oh, okay.
All
I
right.
love that.
Okay, here we go.
I love sketching.
Yeah, no, you're good at it.
Yeah, pretty good at it.
I'd like to get my first tattoo, and I found a great artist in my area.
Nice.
So far, so good. I like all of his work. I like his style.
I like your style.
Since I've never gotten a tattoo before, I was wondering if it'd be cool if I could just ask if he has any sketches of anything he's been wanting to tattoo, and choose something that maybe catches my eye. Would this be okay, or do I need to come in with an idea, or a reference, or something specific that I want?
I think we should just ask our guest.
Let's let Josh start this one off.
just because I know he's got one like that, right?
I do. But
What do you
yeah,
think about that?
I think why not? I mean, that's I've always been geared more towards it because the way I look at it, if you're into that person's artwork, if you're into what they're putting out there, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to look at what, some of their drawings, some of their sketches, paintings even, just, I mean, and if you've got, say an idea, I mean, it's only going to, benefit you more. But as far as specifically asking, hey, what do you want to do? I'm for it too, like I said, because, I mean, what are you, obviously that person has, put work into that, and
They were interested in it because they did it.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's like, so, especially if it's an original piece, that they came up with, and you dig it. I mean, I think, and it, as far as they can, translate it well and everything, but I mean, why not? I think so. And I mean, if you really like a piece of art, I mean, because essentially that's what you're doing. Okay, you didn't come in with a specific, I want this, but hey, I really like that piece right there. I mean, do you think it would be a good tattoo?
Yeah.
I think that's probably the point of it too. Is like you're going to get an original piece of art. You're going to get something that they've probably drawn outside of what is most people's medium. What they're really into, and hopefully you kind of glean what they could really contribute to that piece too. And obviously, if they've drawn it and they show it to you, they want to do it on.
Yeah.
They want
They're into
to
it.
tattoo
Yeah,
this
I mean,
on somebody. And hopefully, we've talked about this. Hopefully, most people keep a sketchbook or have things that they're working on, or you might have pieces that have fallen through the cracks that that you worked on, or
You drew them for a tattoo, and you were excited about it. The person
and they
lost
walked
their
away
job or
one
fell
way
through or
from
whatever.
another. We all have piles of stuff like that, and that may be something that it may be not in the same you may not want exactly what they want, but it gives you a good idea of what they can draw. It gives you a good idea of what they can translate forms or mediums or other ideas into, and you may instantly go like, oh, I love the way you're thinking about this. And that could push your own drawing, even if it's not the one you see. I think most artists, once they get an idea of what people like and what they have, they can make adjustments. They can really make it and tailor it to somebody.
Yeah. Let me distinguish what we're talking about now from something that I've heard you talk about before, where you say, you don't want what's in my head.
Oh, no, that's true.
And the difference being, we were talking about people saying, just do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. That's a horrible
That's
idea.
a little different than looking through a book and finding something that interests you and trying to work together and translate it, which I think is what you would be doing. I doubt, maybe you'll find something in someone's sketchbook that speaks perfectly to you and it's like, oh, it's everything I've ever wanted in a tattoo. But more likely, you'll find an inspiration because you'll see what they were interested in doing, and you'll maybe you'll recognize what you like about it, and the two of you can work together to come to an end result.
I think that's also a good way. I think that often, even if they see pieces of flash or other things that you've done, they may not be, like I said, your cut and wrote pieces that you kind of throw off to the side that you do on the, when you're just doodling. I think if people see that and they want to kind of mix and match and they kind of push an idea, I think that's a great way, too. It doesn't have to be what you see or what that first version of it is. I think if you, like I said, if you get into the idea, if you get into something that you really want, or you think that artist can push it, that they'll take some of those doodles or sketchings, or sometimes things that they haven't really thought out that you and two talk out and want to do, and that's always nice too.
Yeah.
Show them some drawings, but then if you don't see something you like, at least give them the ideas you're thinking about, and they may can come up with something that is right out of your head.
I think you might end up with something better from looking through actual sketchbooks rather than pieces that I know a lot of artists put out pieces in a book out front or whatever and say, hey, I drew this, it fell through, I'd love to do it, or they put out specific drawings, I'd love to do this if someone's interested. I see that a lot, but I think you would you probably end up with a better result looking through rough ideas, thumbnails, things like that, rather than just finding maybe, like I said, maybe you'll find a piece that is exactly what you want. But I like the idea of the client having some input. I like it to be a working relationship on both ends. So not to discount what you're saying, Josh, with
Because you're wrong.
Right.
No,
yeah.
very.
right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, but I just like, rather than just like, let me see what you've got.
Yeah.
I want to get that one. Like, oh, I love this about it, and then we start a back and forth. Like, oh man, cool. Because I'm more than happy to tweak it or to take that idea and implement it into something else, and then we're working together.
And especially if it is a sketch, because it's so rough as it is. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, this could be the foundation for something I'm totally into what you're doing. But, why not? It's just a starting point, and okay, this is what I like about it, and from here on, like you said, you have that back and
kind
forth.
of back and forth, and then both parties are involved, and so sometimes it's a battle working with people that don't. That aren't visual, that don't see things as well, but more often than not, if there's a level of trust there, just talking to the client about it, you'll get new ideas. They'll kind of change your approach this way or that way or whatever. And I just kind of like some sort of involvement. Not that I want someone to dictate, the drawing or to me or to really control the tattoo. I want to do that because I'm better at it, as I draw. But I do like the involvement from the client standpoint.
I do think though that you should have sketches about that. You should have at least a sketchbook or something you could show people, even if it's your old sketches. I mean, I'm kind of I have a bit of a clutter in my station, but people often like go, "Oh, do you mind if I look through?" And they get they at least get an idea of what I do. Like what do I like to do? What scale do I like to do? And what ideas can I come up with? And I try to tell them if they have questions about the drawings, about how they got to a certain point, and I think it gives them a little bit of inspiration, like, maybe I should write some stuff down. Maybe I should, maybe I've seen now the kind of work that I like. I need to come up with, a good story, or like I said, you show them translations of other images, and hopefully they get better ideas.
Yeah, I think that's the point of it. I think it's really about like stimulating people, getting ideas going back and forth. And if you get lucky and you find a sketch that's perfect. I mean, when I first started getting tattooed, I got my first tattoo from a guy here in Memphis, and my girlfriend at the time was flipping through his sketchbook while I was getting tattooed and found was like, would you be willing to do this? It was a really simple kind of black and gray stylized design. It wasn't anything, but she liked the shape of it. She thought it would sit cool on her forearm, and she got it. And so I'm not trying to discount that, but I think more often than not, it starts kind of a back and forth rather than just an end result from the very start.
I mean, that too. I guess you could. I mean, if you're genuinely interested in what that person likes to draw or their style, then it just sets up for a better working relationship.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it sounds like with this person. They said, I found an artist that I really like their style, and would it be okay to look through their sketches? And I think it's a great idea. I mean, especially if you don't have a starting point on your own. Now that said, if you don't have a starting point at all, and you're wanting to get a tattoo, step back and why do you want the tattoo? I mean, what's the point? Why you don't have any ideas at all of something that you like, something that why not? Because a lot of people do want an easy out. They want, how many times have we talked to people that want a sleeve, but they don't know the first thing that's going to be in it. They just think sleeves are cool. Well, that just doesn't work. You can't do that. It's not. It
will say something about you forever, and you should probably have some control over that.
Yeah.
It will. It will inform other people, and if you can't inform them through it, that's a clusterfuck right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, and people are going to ask you about the tattoo.
They are, absolutely.
And like, I don't know, I just wanted a sleeve.
What are you going to say? It's a sleeve.
It's a sleeve that I got because I wanted a sleeve.
Looks cool, right?
I'm pretty badass now.
but
Yeah.
But I really like that artist.
Yeah, I love
he
the
does great
artist.
sleeves.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, to use it to start to stimulate an idea or stimulate a new like a direction for your tattoo I think is great. But to look for an easy out, just to get tattooed, which is exactly what you said you were doing.
Pretty much, but
Well, still, you were
But
young.
you trusted the artist. I've seen other stuff that you've done. You just had the time.
I mean,
and
we had a
availability
lot of
it, is what I
time.
think.
I think that was a key player in it.
Yeah.
But
Right.
again, it's
Yeah, well, that's actually I think really common. You worked in a tattoo shop.
Right.
You were slow at whatever time of the year. There were artists there that wanted to do tattoos. And that's not what this person is talking
But
about.
I definitely
I've seen
dug
that
his
happen.
work. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and
It wasn't, hey, I need you to fill in some space with just anything you have.
Whatever. I don't care what it is.
Pattern and whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else on that one?
I think that's pretty good. I mean, hopefully we've hit all the. If you like their work, if you trust them, look at it. Look at the work.
Yeah.
If you see something in their sketches and stuff that you like, maybe it'll inform you for a better drawing. But you don't have to be 100% driven by that one image. Hopefully they'll tailor it a little bit more to you if you have ideas, and maybe that's part of it.
Probably it. Bring something to the table. Yeah. At least in your own mind, have an idea. Why do I want a tattoo? Right. What do I see in my tattoo?
I'm sure they'll be fine with putting something that they have on you, but they'll probably like it even better.
I guess could be like a good tool. If you have an idea and you're like, hey, can I see some sketches let's kind of develop this a little bit more.
I think that's a great way.
Maybe.
Yeah.
FiresideTats.com.
Like us on
everything.
everything.
Just Google Fireside Tats and like
Just
everything.
Thumbs up, fingers
Thumbs,
up,
the
and
shit.
like
5 to 12
all
stars.
the stars
wherever.
up and
all the
However
stars.
many stars they offer, just click
Right.
it until
Fill
they're
it
all
up.
highlighted.
Fill it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
and then leave a comment.
And I think you're about to release some new stuff.
Yeah,
I know
we're working
talking about
on-
it months
we're working
later,
on,
of course, but,
We are working on some stuff. I'm working on a pretty cool project, and it's still in the.
I tell you what, I see Tim Howard everywhere now.
Yeah, no, we made that guy famous.
I
huh?
know. It's amazing how
Holy crap.
much you can give somebody a boost.
I know, like my God.
Really brought him up.
It's he owes us
He was
a
nobody.
beer or two.
That's all right. We won't collect this year. Next year.
We'll wait till next year. But wait, next year's
He's
an,
young.
and next year's an off World Cup year. He won't be famous at
Oh
all.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Another year.
What was I gonna say? Oh, so I am working on a. It's a little more for tattooers, but I'm working on a project that I'm. That's gonna be a lot about. It's gonna be called Edges, and it's just about line work. We're gonna work with different artists. We're gonna take different angles on how people represent line, whether it's implied line or real live fat lines, and
I'm glad I'm hearing about this.
lost edges, and we're gonna bring some painting kind of ideas into it. We're just gonna play with it and see where it goes. But anyways, I have been working on it. We haven't filmed a single thing, so maybe a little ways off. But
Me either.
I have a lot. Well, yeah, you're gonna be in it though. We're gonna get some of your we're gonna get some of your teeny tiny little edges. We're gonna be like, don't try this at home.
Really don't try it
Yeah.
ever.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Hey,
God
it was a
damn
lot
it.
of
I mean,
fun,
we
you
never
know.
see him.
I know. Hopefully you'll see more of me.
I'm going to be
Hopefully
seeing
so.
more of him
Hey,
because I am going to be working on him really soon.
Yeah,
Gonna do
man.
some heavy
That's
duty
where we're gonna start our edges right there. We're gonna get
right
you
there,
tattooing
huh?
Josh.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
And I'm gonna
it's gonna be
I'm
all
gonna focus on the
biomechanical,
tears in his eyes because I've been through that.
Be there.
Yeah.
Be plentiful.
Oh, he's going to cry.
Oh,
know.
man.
FiresideTats.com. Thank you. Episode 37 is in the books.
In the
We'll
books,
see you
and then-
next week.
Yeah.
Or
We're
two.
out.
We're out.
Thanks, you guys.
Man.